What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Prom Night, the 2008 one. So we're here. We're at the end of the Prom Night reviews, and we're finishing it off with the fifth installment in the franchise, which is Wikipedia says it's a reboot. But I just consider this more of like a remake. This is from like the peak remake era. You know, what are we on now? Are we on the reboot era? Is it the requel era? I don't know. You know, I can't keep up, but for the most part, I'm here for it. You know, keep making sequels, whatever. I'm cool with it. Some people do. I do hate on some of the newer stuff, but if I really just don't think it's gonna be good, I just won't watch it. I'm not gonna bitch and complain about it. I'm not tripping. But anyways, so Prom Night 2008. What is my overall opinion? So I thought, okay, let me preface this by saying, you know, I think people absolutely despise this movie. I think people hate this movie, right? And I get why people hate it, but okay, so for me personally, I just got done watching every Prom Night movie in succession. I just sat through Prom Night 2, 3, and 4. So that might have, you know, kind of altered my opinion or perception, because I thought this was decent, you know, not like a great slasher by any means, but I thought it was decent and serviceable, and definitely the most watchable film in the franchise besides the original. You know, part 2, 3, and 4 were, you know, very hard to get through. This and the original are the most watchable in the franchise. So there's that. So yeah, I had a decent time with it. And that's the thing, I don't want to get on here and I already pretty much hated on every movie in the franchise. I don't want to completely hate on every movie. I don't want to be, you know, I'm already an old head of hater. I'm like, man, these new kids with their new movies. I just sit on my porch and I just yell at kids. I'm like, these kids with their new movies and their PlayStation 10s, with their internets and their Tic Tacs and their what are they doing? You know, I'm already an old head, so I try to not be too much of a hater, because even though I kind of internally am a hater, I don't want to be perceived as a hater, because some fools, I don't know, it just comes off if you're too much of a hater, it's get a life, motherfucker. It's dude, it's a movie. Who cares? You know, I really don't have a life, but if I'm on the internet, I want to appear like I do have a life. I want to seem cool, you know, to all my listeners or whatever. So, but yeah, and then but that's the thing too. Yeah, I had a thought and I just totally blanked out for a second. But yeah, sometimes though, the fact that I'm not a complete hater probably, you know, brings down my views, because some people, when they rant and rave about a movie and totally just get all bent out of shape and just totally shit on a movie, some people love that, and it's a very entertaining, and I watch videos like that, and sometimes they'll be kind of speaking what I'm thinking. I'm like, my man, or my woman or whatever, I'm I feel you, you know. Yeah, I'm more chill with it. You know, I try to dibble dabble with video shit sometimes, and I suck at it. So shit, making movies is hard. These fools do have $80 trillion, but still, what the fuck am I doing? I'm sitting here talking to a camera, so I don't know, you know, whatever. But anyways, I'm straight rambling. I just had a energy drink. I had a Rip It. I don't know if people are familiar with Rip Its. Not Whippets. We don't do that on the channel, you know. But I do like when the kids are doing Whippets and Gummo though. But anyways, no, I'm talking about Rip Its. It's like an energy drink. It's very cheap. It's like kind of like a grimy, trashy, cheap energy drink. They were $125, but now they're $150. Still a good deal. So yeah, I pound those things sometimes. I've been yeah, like just with I got all these like school papers to do and just like working and shit. So I'm just pounding the Rip Its. I mean, not like excessively, but I did just have one. But anyways, I'm rambling. We got to talk about Prom Night. So I thought it was decent. Plot summary. So the movie centers around this girl, Donna, and when she was a freshman, basically her biology teacher, you know, he became like obsessed with her, and so like he was, you know, insane. So he thought like to be with her, you know, he had to just kill her whole family, and instead of get like going to like a high security prison, they put him in some like high security mental institution because I think he like pled insanity or something. So then yeah, basically when it like flash forwards to when Donna is a senior and she's going to senior prom, she's got, you know, PTSD, she takes like anxiety medication, and she just wants to be like normal, have like a good prom. So she goes to prom. That, you know, while she's going to prom, basically her biology teacher who killed her family, or like former biology teacher who killed her family, Richard Fenton, he escaped from the mental institution, and you know, he goes to the hotel where they're having prom, and he starts killing everybody. So that's the basic plot summary. First point here on the notes. This is like a super random point, and this is kind of like a really like an insignificant thing, but I really like the fact that in this movie, the actual prom took place at like a hotel. Like it wasn't at the school. It was at this like beautiful, luxurious hotel, because, you know, in other movies that like center around prom, and also in other movies in the franchise, like prom just takes place in some school gymnasium. And for me personally, that wasn't my experience. It's like we always had homecoming was in the school gym. Every fall you'd have the homecoming dance was in the school gym. But when I went to prom, it was at a different location. Like we went to this it was like this restaurant slash banquet hall that was like right next to this like marina. Like it was like on the like right next to the lake, like on the water. There was all the like, you could like look out the window, see all these boats. So yeah, like in like my experience, like we went to kind of like a cool destination for prom. Like it wasn't just a crusty old gym, you know. So I kind of like this kind of reminded me of, you know, going to prom. And then also they're pulling up in all kinds of like, you know, extravagant cars. They're pulling up in like sports cars, and I think they were pulling up in limos. Like that's what we did. Like we were like, everyone, you know, was pulling up in nice cars. Like my group, we like rented like a little party bus. So I feel like this like depiction of like the prom night, for me personally, it like really was like relatable, and it was like very similar to my experience. So I felt like it was like a like realistic depiction of prom. Or I mean, maybe the other ones are realistic for other people. Maybe some people have prom in a gym, but yeah, it just clicked with me personally. I'm like, wow, that's kind of fun. That reminds me of when I went to prom. Moving on. Okay, so in the movie there are like two main detectives. One of the detectives, his name is Detective Nash, and he is played by James Ransone. I'm probably butchering that name. We're gonna go with James Ransone, or maybe he's Italian. Maybe it's like Ransoni. I don't know. But so James Ransone, he played Tate in Ken Park, and I like immediately when I saw him, I'm like, yo, that's Tate from Ken Park. That's the fool who was watching tennis and tossing off. That's the fool who was watching tennis and pulling his goalie. Yo, that's the fool who kilted his grandparents because they cheated in Scrabble. Like, he's a straight up ledge. So I was like, my man, they got Tate in this joint. Like, let's go. Like, they got that fool from Ken Park. Like, that's my man. Like, that fool was iconic. Like, homeboy was tossing off to tennis matches. Like, that fool was going crazy. So yeah, it was cool to see James Ransone. I hope I'm not saying his name wrong, because I really liked his performance in Ken Park. That he was crazy in that movie. So it was cool to see him in this. He was good in this as well. And then the other detective, Detective Wynn, was played by Idris Elba, and he's in like a bunch of stuff. He's like a huge bit. He's like a big star, but basically, like whenever I think of Idris Elba, I think of I have this family friend, and he owns this like auto body shop, and basically, so he's like, okay, he's like my dad. One of my dad's best friends. This gentleman is one of my dad's best friend's nephew, and like he like grew up with my dad and stuff, and he owns this auto body shop that's like in the like city of Detroit, and we go we go there to he like fixes our cars for us. But that's, I mean, he does that, but like what he also, like what he's like known for is he does like all kinds of custom work on cars, and he does like hydraulics on cars and all kinds of stuff. He does like, I believe he does like paint work, and he does like crazy custom rims. He does like everything, like, but like he's really famous for doing the hydraulics, and he's like won all kinds of competitions and stuff like that, and basically my dad like showed me one day. He's like, yo, he's in this video with Idris Elba. I guess it was like some documentary they were doing. So I think it was because I think Idris Elba is from the UK. I'm pretty sure, and I think it was like a BBC documentary or something. Like, it was like they were, maybe it was just like on cars in general, or they were focusing on like American cars. But basically it was like it was my family friend who works on my car, and he's like driving in this lifted car with hydraulics, and it's like, you know how a car with hydraulics, you can make it so it's like on two wheels, like sideways. So he's like whipping around a corner in the hood real fast in this like lowrider car on hydraulics sideways with Idris Elba in the car, because like Idris Elba was like, he was like the host of the documentary, and he was like interviewing my family friend. So whenever I see like Idris Elba in a movie, I think of that. I'm like my family friend knows him. He like interviewed him for that documentary. So I thought it was cool seeing him. He did super well as well. Both of the detectives, they killed it. And I just like their characters overall. But I had to mention that little story, because whenever I see Idris Elba, I think of that. So, I like saying, telling little campfire tales, telling little stories on here, because I don't know. I don't like. What am I gonna do? Just say the same thing that everyone else says? Like I try to make my reviews like a little bit different. Like a lot of MFs. Like I'm calling out fools now. I'm talking my shit. A lot of fools on these movie reviews, they just say like the behind the scenes stuff. It's like, motherfucker, like you're acting like you got the inside scoop. Like everyone and their grandma can just look that up on YouTube or on the Blu-ray. Like you're acting like, oh, I got the inside info, I got the scoop, I got the 411. Like anyone could look that up. But it is cool because like they put people hip, and I used to do that a lot in my early videos because I was like inspired by other channels and they were doing that. But I don't know, I gotta call people out now. I'm gonna start, that's what, how they have rap beefs. They need to have YouTube movie reviewer beefs. Is that a thing? Like, please, if another movie review channel is watching this, please start beefing with me. Like, I'm trying to like start an internet feud. It'll get my views up. It'll be fun. It'll be something to do. I don't really have that much going on right now. Like I said, I have no life. So if please someone start beefing with me, we're gonna start the whole the movie review channel beefs are gonna become a thing. It's gonna be the new trending topic on YouTube. It's gonna be, a bunch of crusty dudes talking about movies, arguing at each other instead of just yelling at a camera. So it's gonna be tight. But anyways, moving on to my next point. I'm gonna get into some dislikes here about the movie. So even though I did think this was one of the most watchable movies in the Prom Night franchise, I don't think it stacks up to other remakes from this era. I really like a lot of remakes from this era. I mean, the Texas Chainsaw one came out, I believe, in 2003, so that was like a little bit before, but I still consider it the same era. I love that movie. Even like the prequel, what is it called? The Beginning, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Beginning. That's fantastic. The 2009 Friday the 13th, like magical. This came out a little bit after Prom Night, but that 2013 Maniac remake with Elijah Wood, ooh, very good. Oh my goodness, that's a fantastic movie. But anyways, I like a lot of movies from this remake era. Some of them I don't like the Nightmare on Elm Street one. That one is pretty lame, but I like a lot of these movies from this era. This doesn't stack up to like the good ones, in my opinion. It's kind of one of the less notable remakes. Also, yeah, it's, I feel like this movie, it's very generic, it's formulaic, it's not it's not doing anything different, and it is like a movie, like if like when people talk smack about horror movies, like it has like a lot of the tropes that people talk about when they're like hating on horror movies. Like there's like a lot of jump scares, and there's like, oh, dead body is falling from the attic, and then like the musical cues are really like cliche horror movie music cues. So yeah, it is kind of like generic in that regard. Also, the kills are super lame in this. They're like all cutaways. There's really no blood, no gore, and this is like a PG-13 slasher movie, which, I mean, people hate on PG-13 slasher movies, which I totally understand. Like it doesn't make sense. I'm trying to think of an analogy. I just thought of one, but it's inappropriate, so that you'll never know that. But basic. That's exclusive. That's behind the scenes. Maybe I'll put that on my Patreon. Psych, no, I don't have that. But I need to get that. I need to get this guap. I need to get this MF and Skrilla. You know what I mean? Do people still say that? Maybe just J Rock from Trailer Park Boys says that. I don't know. But you know, the PG-13, a PG-13 horror movie can work, you know, by all means, but a PG-13 slasher like that, it just, I mean, the point of a slasher is like, you want blood and gore and maybe, just maybe, little nudity. So the, you know, PG-13, all that stuff's not gonna fly. So yeah, the PG-13 situation did bring this down, and I don't know, I just wrote this down. I wrote, like, this was random, but speaking of, like, jump scares, there was this jump scare early on that I, like, laughed at. So Donna's, like, in the bathroom, and she's like I think she's, like, about to take her pills, but she doesn't take them. And then you got, I said it's the Aunt Karen scare, aka the legal guardian scare, aka the fake mom scare, jump scare. Cause, like, I thought it was like her stepmom, but then when, like, I reread the plot synopsis, it's her aunt. So yeah, that's, you know, in some movies you have a nice cat scare, you have like a cat jump scare, like I believe it was Halloween 2, you had a good cat scare. This, you have the legal guardian scare. So that's I mean, it was kind of comical, but also kind of iconic, you know. That's my new thing that I'm gonna do. Like, I'm gonna find any jump scare and give it like a cool name, like a catchphrase type name, you know. Oh, that's the grandma scare. That's the school bus scare. You know, whatever. I don't know. So that's gonna be my new thing that I'm doing in these videos. I feel like I don't know if this was a good movie review, but I kind of brainstormed and I came up with a couple cool ideas that I'm gonna start beefing with other movie reviewers. That's gonna be a cool new thing on the movie review scene. And then also, anytime I see a jump scare, I'm gonna come up with like a cool, memorable catchphrase, like that's the dog scare. That's the little brother scare. So maybe you didn't like the video, but maybe it was educational and you learned something. Man, I'm in a silly mood today, but these are the best videos in my opinion. Maybe other people don't think that, but like for me personally, I think when I get a little silly with it, when I just like really freestyle it, that's peak movie review right there. The less I talk about the movie, the better. I'm just joking. I'm joking. You know, I'm a professional here. I'm you know, I take my craft very seriously. I don't mess around. But anyways, let me stop rambling. Okay, so in terms of a recommendation, Prom Night 2008, even though I had a decent time with it, and you know, I thought it was serviceable. Like, you know, there were problems, but overall it was serviceable, and I had a decent time with it. With that being said, you know, even though I personally thought it was okay, would I recommend it? To be honest, I would not recommend it. You know, it's like a time waster. Like, it was okay to watch once, but am I gonna watch this movie on repeat? Absolutely not. Did it totally knock my socks off? It didn't. So even though I had an okay time with it, I would not recommend it. So yeah, there was my recommendation. That has been my review of Prom Night 2008. This is the wrap up of all the Prom Night reviews, unless they do a reboot or a requel. So hey, if you watched any of these Prom Night reviews, thank you all very much for watching, and peace out. have a beautiful time.